Welcome to Reframing the Questions. I'm so glad you're here, and I hope this feels like a safe place for thoughtful conversation. If you ever feel tension around the abortion conversation because you don't feel like either pro-life or pro-choice fits your faith perspective, your values, or how you see Jesus living out his life when he was here, then you're not alone. I have felt incredible tension around this conversation for 2 decades, and I'm part of a community of thousands of other Christians who also want to find a way to go beyond the binary, which is really a false binary, and find a new paradigm about the abortion conversation. My name is Angela Wesley, and I want to welcome you to Reframing the Questions, where we will take one question in every video brought to us by real-life Christians. They're struggling with this question or wrestling with it in their life, and we will reframe that question out of the political rhetoric and through the lens of Jesus, his example, his words, his attitudes, his whole posture of how he lived his life. And I lead an organization called Pro Grace, and we help Christians across denominations and political affiliations to really disrupt the pro-life, pro-choice paradigm with a new way to think and talk about the issue. So I have a lot of questions. I've asked a lot of questions over the years. I've been asked some really tough questions, some very thoughtful questions over the years. So I know that we have many, many questions we can explore together. As we do this, we're going to really stick to one question per video. So I wanted this introductory video to really let you know what my commitments are to you if you choose to keep watching. I make 3 commitments to you. The first is that we are going to use Jesus as our example and our model for these conversations. The second is that we are going to take the conversations out of the political completely. And the third is that we have a framework for walking through these questions. So first, in terms of the example of Jesus, I think the issue happening in our churches right now is that we actually have not taken the time to think deeply enough about how he responded to issues of his day, to people who came to him who were struggling with all types of the human condition. And instead, we've made this an issue. And so we want to get back to Jesus and the way he actually processed these conversations, which is why I like starting with questions, because that's exactly what he did. If we look through the scripture, he asked so many questions. He would answer a question with a question because he was also trying to disrupt a lot of paradigms that people had about God, about him. And so we want to follow that same model and really root this in who he is and our relationship with him and what it means to be a Jesus follower today as we engage this very important conversation. The second commitment is to take this out of politics. And I mean that. I don't use the words pro-life and pro-choice to describe my views, to describe anyone else's views. People might mention it in a video, but for the most part, we are trying to completely stay away from that framework because that is rooted in so many years of painful history, in rhetoric. And in order for us to have breathing space, we need to step back and question. Another piece of this is that a lot of our mental model or the way we view abortion really is rooted in politics. And we have a lot of assumptions that we think might be from scripture, but they really come from one of the 2 political parties. And so that's why we want to lay that down. The third commitment is about our framework. So we have a 4-piece framework that we use to answer these questions. And the other videos in this playlist take one piece of that framework at a time and walk through so that when we get into the questions where it's a more quick moving, it will make sense to you, the framework we're using to process those in. So I highly recommend that before you jump to a question video, go ahead and watch the framework videos. Obviously, you don't have to, but the questions and the conversations we'll have will make a lot more sense. And I believe you'll get a lot more out of them if you understand the framework first. The next video that I would love for you to watch is about my journey. And the reason I'd love you to watch it is I hope that it affirms your journey. The way we've processed abortion means that each one of us has a different experience of what we've grown up hearing, people we know who have been maybe hurt by the church in this. There's a lot of very heavy things happening. And it's important to slow down at the beginning before we start asking questions and just evaluate our own story. And so I hope that by sharing my journey, it will help you reflect on your own story and really be in a posture to reframe the whole conversation and ask new questions. So thank you so much for joining me here. And I really look forward to more conversations with you.